What did Bored Gamer do? Star Citizen players getting sick and tired of griefers and bounty hunting 2.0. Thank you, Starlet. Mouse chat. It's the mouse chat polka. Thank you, Starlet. It is the Mousetrap Polka. Welcome, everybody, to DG360. We have an amazing community of people here. You should join it. Check out all the links. There's a Discord link, hopefully, there. I'm not even quite sure. You'll find it if you want us. Bored Gamer looks like he might be jumping on the clickety-clacks. He might be looking for them clicks because the title here we got is a Star Citizen players getting sick and tired of griefers. Okay. All right. Touch the Kuatu hands. They hear you. DG Kuatu hear you. Oh. Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you, Explodo. Thank you, Starlet. I love you both. But only you two. The rest of you, I'm not quite sure about.
Star Citizen is expanding out its gameplay. Bounty Hunting 2.0 is something that we should see in the next year, but the persistent universe needs better PvP, piracy, bounty hunting gameplay, anti-griefing measures, and support for that. There is regular drama and discontent in the community about this topic. We are going to talk about the short and long-term solutions and features that are coming to the game, as well as look at a Reddit post that looks at some solutions that could break the game's code of conduct, and is it fair that it does? Let's jump into a Reddit post. Getting sick and tired of griefers. The original poster says, possibly just me ranting to myself whilst everyone else disagrees, but I'm getting really fed up with people that show up to where you are, don't want money to go away or for you to turn out your pockets, but just rock up, blow up your ship, and then kill you. Like, come on, dude. That's not gameplay. That's just being an expletive. Piracy is holding people.
This is a sandbox right now, everybody. Like, this is a sandbox. An MMO is a sandbox. This is something that's going to happen in an MMO. This is going to be something that happens in a sandbox. The more restrictive you get, the more the gameplay kind of just falls down a ladder and never returns. And the more limitations you put on gameplay, I think the more hurtful it is. I don't think that this game in particular is trying to shy away from danger. This is something that has been a constant talk on this channel. I think there'll be areas eventually where you can have safe PvE where you don't have to worry about griefing, but you have to realize what it is that you are getting into. You have to learn something that many of us already know. You're getting into an MMO experience with other gamers. You're going to have to deal with people.
People for goods or ransom or wanting a payment to leave you alone, but it's none of that. Then the post tails off into some profanity. But so there is a long-running piracy versus griefing debate. What precisely constitutes legitimate gameplay versus what is griefing? I always count anything that doesn't have me repeatedly being blown up in succession by a player or group that is targeting just me as sort of fine, although, yeah, if there's sort of bullying involved where it's clearly the targeting of a single player or small group of players, preventing them from playing the game, going outside of the game to sort of annoy and upset.
And I think most of us rational adults can agree that if somebody's literally trying to poop on your experience, and they're really going to that extent, right, where they're doing that, excluding streamers and content creators, because that's the shit you have to deal with, by the way. If you're a content creator or a streamer, you're just going to have to deal with that and put on the big boy pants, by the way. But I'm talking about just, not a content creator, not a streamer. I'm talking about a gamer. Hardcore, 100% gamer. You come into this, you're in an MMO. You got to realize there's going to be chaos. You got to realize the shit's going to happen. But if there's somebody out there or a group of people out there that continually shit on your head, yes, that is something that is not cool. That is an offense. Yes, I even have an area where I say, okay, enough is enough, right? But I think we can all agree I think we can all agree that if someone or some people get to the point where they're literally just trying to ruin a person's experience over and over and over and over and over again, and it's repetitive and it's relentless, and it's like, you know, like, it's like, that's like, okay, we got to look at that. We got to look at that, right? As for streamers that complain about being stream sniped, dude, that is really funny. That is what you signed up for. So please put on the big boy pants and realize what you got yourself into.
You wake up in the morning, you say,
big boy pants.
Look, I'm wearing a belt.
Listen. If you are a streamer or a content creator and you're constantly getting stream sniped and you're complaining about it, or like these people are following you, you should just fucking deal with it. It is what you signed up for by doing what it is that you do, which is to provide some type of entertainment, information, whatever it may be that is your channel. When you signed up for this, and you're getting into a game and you become popular and people watch you and you have a large group of people and you're loved and you're hated, you're going to have this following follow you pretty much everywhere you're at. Doesn't matter what the game is. And that shit just happens. It's called having a thick skin. It's what you need as a content creator. When I start seeing content creators whine about stream sniping, it makes me sick. I don't even feel like I feel like they are subhuman. It's like, dude, do you not realize what you're doing? Do you not realize that this is going to happen to you because you're broadcasting it? You're broadcasting it. Fucking A.
That can certainly be griefing as well, but there are lots of other edge cases too. I do think one of the major problems is that it's hard to define what griefing is someone all agreeing on that.
It isn't. It isn't hard. Society has made it hard. It is not hard to define griefing. Griefing is exactly what we talked about. When one person or a group of people continually go after you to shit on your head and make your experience a living fucking hell on purpose, over and over and over again. It has to be repetitive in nature. And it has to be to the point where it's like, this is personally being targeted at me, and it feels like it's a real world thing. When it transcends the game and it becomes a real life thing because of it, then that's offensive. That's an offense. That's what griefing is. That's what it is. It's not finding exploits in a game, especially one that's continually being built. It's not that.
Definition. But yeah, when players are camping areas
hard.
or just being random...
It's not hard to figure out.
Yes, sir. You're not gonna eat me. Yes.
And people get so mad with me when I say that. And I would want to say, like, I want to say this. Look in the mirror. Be accountable for the choices that you make. This is gaming, right? There's a lot of different types of gaming experiences. Realize what game you are getting into, right? If you're on the sidewalk in real life and you're looking across a street that's empty and you're looking both ways and you see that there are no cars there, you make the rational decision to cross that street, right? This is what I account all this bullshit to about griefing. I account it to a lemming walking to the edge of a sidewalk on an 8-lane freeway and looking both ways, right? And then walking into it. Right? I mean, like, realize where you're at. Realize what you're playing, right? Some games, nice road, nice quiet country road, take me home to the place I belong, right? Like, there is that road, right? And then there's like, the symphony of destruction. You know, I mean, like, then there's that road, right? These are the roads of gaming, okay? Know where you're at. Know what you're getting yourself into. Griefing is very simple to define. And it's when one person or a group of people Just poop on your head and make your day so bad over and over for multiple days. That's it. Griefing, that is. Right. Yes.
Murder hobos, that can sometimes be seen as griefing to some. I'd like to see things deemed actual griefing as impossible or hard to do in-game. That's what I want. I want there to be systems to prevent that, and it to be very clear cut
I love that,
when something is griefing. But that is another conversation. There are ways to deal with these players in-game to some extent, and that's bounty hunting. Those bounty hunters will go and attack and hunt those players down, hopefully reducing their activities, slowing them down, sending them to prison. In that same thread, I saw some players wanting to go after these criminal players or these
Spread
griefers
this knowledge out there.
Contracts out on them
Spread it
more
out
permanently,
there.
hunting them down server to server. A Reddit user responded to those calls to action saying, "Just an FYI, because I've seen people get their accounts suspended for this, but it is against Cloud Imperium's terms of service to hunt people server to server, i.e. if you're joining specific servers just to kill one player in particular. Fully support the idea of taking out the trash, but I figured I'd point to that."
I agree
and
with that.
they are correct. You shouldn't actively hunt a particular player from server.
That is common knowledge. Why is this so hard to figure out? Am I alone in this? I feel like a lot of you watching with me understand what it is I'm saying. I feel like the people in the room live with me now understand exactly what it is that I'm saying. It's not a hard concept to figure out, and yet it's one of the most talked about subjects in every game I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, not until like 2012 did I start seeing this. Anything prior to that, people just dealt with shit. People just dealt with shit, dude. It's just it was part of the experience, but somewhere along the way, this conversation became like a conversation to have, and it's nonsensical. It's a nonsensical conversation, and I just don't get it. I don't get it.
The server, as it does state in the game's rules of conduct.
What's up, Anarchy? Welcome back,
outlines
bro.
Inappropriate behavior and things that you shouldn't do in the game.
I
that
need
can
your
then
positivity,
get you penalized and eventually
Positivity.
potentially banned. Stream sniping, pad ramming, or utilizing bugs and exploits to grief or continually harass others is against that rules of conduct. So hunting down a player, putting a more permanent contract on their head, would be seen as continuously harassing. This has further annoyed some players, as this somewhat protects pirates and the more extreme version of this and griefers from some retribution. Attack a load of people on a server, then server jump. If you want, boom, I don't have to deal with it. That said, obviously griefing is also against the rules, but griefing is often confused with legitimate gameplay, and sometimes someone attacking you will be seen as griefing by a player because they're not in the mood, they didn't expect it, or they're just angered by the encounter. Now, a lot of that is just poor signposting and some players just not knowing what they're getting themselves into or expecting an area to...
Here's the thing. In order for something to escalate like this, where there's two parties going at one another like this, right? Or two people going at one another like this, there was something there that happened. Somebody was being a drama queen. You know, like usually when you get in situations like this, somebody did something. This is not like some dude, some random Joe just being like, I'm going to pick on this guy and I'm going to keep picking on this guy every single day. Like, right? Like that. This is not usually a random thing that happens. Somehow somebody stood out in some way, right? Somebody did something that stood out in some way that came off really bad. Right, the one guy ends up escalating it, and then it's a back and forth thing. This is usually a mutual thing that happens in the gaming world when something like this happens, right? So, like, that's another thing that you never hear talked about either, right? Oh, let's just put protection around everybody all the time. Everybody's a meanie. Like, I don't think there's a random dude out there that's going to go after another random dude out that did absolutely nothing over and over and over again simply to, like, get his jollies off on it. I mean, there might be, but it's a really small percentage of people. But then you have everybody gather around it, plant their flag and say, yes, you know, this is it. This is the reason we need to get rid of this XYZ. And it's relatively small instance of these things happening, really.
be safe. You can press charges on players that kill you, and there is a law system
That's
that protects
funny,
against
666.
unlawful attack, or at least will have the aggressor get a criminal rating and be attackable. However, when the comma rays are turned off in an area, or you're not in range of those, then crimes aren't registered, and some of this is intentional gameplay, admittedly. Cloud Imperium want PvP. They want piracy, bounty hunting, threat, risk versus reward.
Yes, BG,
and
good point.
for players
like
to
that. Yes,
hire
BG.
and bring escorts or be sneaky.
Yes.
For me, it comes down to there not being enough game-enforced systems and gameplay to properly support piracy and PvP currently. It's easy to get out of prisons. Piracy doesn't actually pay out money, so you can't really loot other ships properly. They just explode, and a lot of the cargo's often lost. Not always. I mean, some of it's sort of salvageable, reclaimable. So why attack and pirate in the first place? A lot of people do want to just have some free-form murder piracy gameplay fun, or want to play out what pirate gameplay would be. There are bugs that mean that you can get a crime stat for attacking criminals, so you get a crime stat which you maybe shouldn't, which is really annoying. It's not clear a lot of the time who is a potential threat or attacker, and sometimes there are bugs that just go, well, is this guy actually attacking me? Oh no, I'm dead. That's a bit annoying. I wish I knew. There are easy, low-effort ways of beating others as well, like A2, the Hercules, the big old bomber, just dive bombing with reckless abandon at a jump fan location. So that said, that can be fun for a lot of people, because it's sort of like you've got an area locked down and someone just comes in and ruins that. It can be fun for a lot of people. There are ways of mitigating that as well in some of these situations. So you can sort of, at Jump Town especially, you can have forces in place to try and deal with that. You can have your sort of ships parked in more sporadic and sort of wider area. A lot of it comes down to boredom and gameplay not being satisfying for players that want to do piracy and want to do PvP.
Right.
It's not been supported in a way that these players want. And if Cloud Imperium solves some of these, then Star Citizen would be all the better for it.
You need to, and I think that's what we're seeing. We're going to see more population. We're gonna see more areas populated with PvE mission areas in relatively safe, quiet places. You know, it depends. It depends. And then they get found out by the player base, and then they're used to go crazy on PvEers. I understand the whole process. I understand it.
I'm warning you.
Next time, it's gonna be glass.
I so want to be in a kung fu movie. I just can't get over it. Every time that alert pops up, I would love to be an evil kung fu lord. Now light it up.
Du hast mich. Du hast mich gefragt.
Whoa,
Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt. Und ich hab nicht gesagt.
I love that alert. Thank you so much, Explodo. Thank you. Thank you, Anarchy. Love you, dudes. So far, Board Gamer making a lot of sense. I like his opinions on this.
I do want a more carrot and stick approach personally, give players more to do with PvP, focus them in certain areas, make criminal and aggressive actions high risk versus reward, make it harder to leave prison so it actually slows down players going sort of full murder hobo, and generally sort of
Murder
more features
hobo.
that support more legitimate bounty hunting, piracy and outlaw gameplay. Now, we do have some gameplay coming soon in Alpha 3.18, which should actually help a lot. There are new prison updates, arguably rewarding players in prison with more things to do, but it may well make it harder to get
like Greasy
out
Khaleesi and
gain
Nope,
merits.
yeah.
So it depends on what they sort of do for a bit of a
Our
balance
wonderful
here.
psychopaths.
There are going to be more dangers in prisons and more PvP for players to do, more reasons to fight because you can loot each other and that sort of stuff. And there's going to be NPCs in the mines. There's going to be more missions.
I want to see
and
crazy
reasons to
creatures
bring
in
loot
that mine,
out of
dude.
the mines
I want to
bring
see
it into the
crazy
prison
alien
proper.
creatures.
There are various law
When
updates
jump
coming as
scares
well.
up in
Some
that.
are there to help reduce accidental crime stats. So also, like, if you get up to a crime stat 2, then you're not actually a hostile criminal, you actually will be able to land and pay off your fees, your fines, to remove that crime stat, which I actually think is pretty good, but there could certainly be some other law updates to improve unexpected PvP. There are changes coming to Security Post Korea that will make it a hot point for PvP and criminal versus bounty hunter activity. High risk and reward. And you'll be able to dispense some very valuable loot, but bounty hunters will get missions to come deal with you if you're at Security Post Korea. Security Post Korea also has like security and presence now, and it's going to be the only place to hack.
Yes. Ash is saying piracy is nerfed almost into oblivion in the current game. You can do it, but SIG have made it barely worthwhile. We hear that narrative over at Mongrel a lot. Talk with Mongrel a lot. They're always saying, man, they're always biting into the piracy gameplay, you know? And so that's cool. That's cool to see that they're going to be changing that. That's cool because our boys over at Mongrel, they need their pirate gameplay, man. They do.
Down your criminal ratings. So I think that actually might go a long way of giving players a lot of gameplay to do. The cargo refactor will make commodities more interactable and stealable from other players' ships. This could somewhat help making piracy more legitimate, though other mechanics really need to come online, but I suppose you could negotiate with a player to say, look, I want your loots, give me your loots, or boom boom. We also know that salvage and persistent entity streaming will mean that ships' carcasses will be left behind. So what does that mean about the destroyed ship's cargo? How exactly will that be handled in that sort of system? We'll have to wait until we have 3.18 in our hands, I suppose. Beyond that, though, so beyond 3.18, sort of stuff that's coming next year, or we're hoping that comes next year, Bounty Hunting 2.0. That's currently being worked on now and into May 2023. This will enable players to track criminals via a mobiGlas security app linked with distress beacons, comm arrays, air traffic control systems, cameras, and NPC informants. This will rely on various new back-end tech, including virtual AI, the NPC scheduler, and security service. You can probably expect this feature to also tweak various laws and new missions and make gameplay more satisfying for both criminals and bounty hunters. So I'm hoping that maybe around this time we get the ability to capture bounties. That would be kind of cool. I suppose it's not essential, but just more gameplay for these people that want to do it will mean that they're less bored, that they've got reasons to do that gameplay, and people can know what to expect more often. It's much more expected where this is going to happen and why it's going to happen. The resource management feature that also is being worked on naturally leads to physical components and ships no longer having artificial health pools, which is important as we want ships to be disabled. Now, you could argue that Cloud Imperium could probably do that if they wanted, but they prefer not to sort of like have temporary systems in unless it's something that they're evolving. I don't know. There are reasons, but what this really allows for is boarding, and I really want to see that. I think that really makes piracy gameplay and a lot of other fun gameplay.
I agree. I like his opinions.
The addition of Pyro will help
with
too,
BG
with a clearer divide between what a secure-ish system is versus the Wild West system, and more focused gameplay in certain areas for players that want it. Like Pyro will
like again, we don't have a full functioning solar system yet, or universe yet. You know, we don't have an additional system yet. Once you see Pyro come online, again, technical hurdles keeping that from happening. But once you see that, you'll be able to see the difference between lawful and unlawful. But we just don't have that yet, you know? So they're going to continue to work on it within Stanton. Right now, it's complete shite. Like, the whole system's kind of busted. I'm glad it's there, but it doesn't function the way any of us want it to. It was nice to see that we won't get shot at with minor security sec ratings. Elliot Muldoon, our buddy over at Cloud Imperium, who chills with us sometimes on stream, he's appearing a lot more on Inside Star Citizen, doing a lot of the fixes that many of us have been screaming about for ages. It's nice to see Elliot coming in, actually cleaning some shit up. What's up, Making? Welcome to the fam, bro. Nice to have a new member here. And Elliot's doing good work, man. And so it was nice to get the information we gleaned the other night on Inside Star Citizen about what's going to happen when we have lower sec ratings, and it's not gonna we're not gonna get shot at with low sec ratings, which is nice. And you know, there's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of bugs to the law system right now. At least it's there, but that's not enough. You know. No, I do not. Were you able to play that making things is like, hey, dude, have you tried Manor Lords yet? Yeah, because you can actually try it. We reported that last week. I'm very much looking forward to trying it out. But I think it's just the city building portion of it and not the fighting. Am I correct on that, making things? Very interested in that title. I love Manor Lords.
Be a den of pirates. I also want to see game-enforced long-term bounties that players and factions can set on someone.
Yes.
That is likely to be part of the reputation system as it expands out,
What's
though
up, Osashes?
resistance
I didn't
will
even
apply
see
to
you there, bro.
reputations,
What's going
and
on, man?
that will make career criminals and aggressive PvPers finding it hard to enter systems like Stanton.
With Manor Lords?
So you can go, it's unlikely that I'm going to get
Do I
this
have
type of
Manor
gameplay
Lords on
here
here as a
because
title?
these sort of players will sort of be barred for entering because of the security presence at the gates or nearby. They're going to find it very hard to
my
live
title.
in these areas. Obviously, they might
This is
exist
just
around
chatting,
Grimhex
DG in the
and
morning.
things like that. But it's still going to be a lot harder for them to exist than in places like Pyro,
Thank you,
where
Os.
there's not security forces there roaming. And there are going to be some star systems that are significantly more secure than Stanton.
Yeah, I say this shit all the time. Board's doing good work. I like it. You know, like this is good. I'm digging his opinions. I'm digging his opinions.